Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I am back with another replay that I took from the front page of Cast It. And honestly, I forget who uploaded it, but this is interesting. I think I've already casted this. Let me double check real quick here. Sorry, I'm out tabbing real quick, so that's why you guys don't hear any in-game sound. Let's see here. PH Winter. Yeah, okay, never mind. Love Your Girlfriend Clan. Yeah, okay, I've casted this guy before. I was just a teeny bit confused, but now here I am. I'm still out tabbed. I'm checking out what's going on. Yeah, okay, we got the right matchup. Lower right-hand corner. Spawning is our red Terran. I give you all Khyira. And in the upper right-hand corner, spawning is our blue Zerg, the uploader Winter. Now, I won't go over the exact length of this replay because I honestly have no clue how long it lasted. I did my best to avoid making eye contact with the upload time, or not upload time, excuse me, the game length, if you will. But if it's one thing that I did pay attention to, it was definitely the kilobyte size, and let me tell you guys, this one is going to be a long one. I just know that from experience. I've casted, like, if you just pay attention to my YouTube channel, you guys will see that there's more than 400 different VODs that I have uploaded there and such. But, looks like we're going to have Khyira going for a double command center opener, or at least that this kind of opener carries that kind of tempo anyway. And I really like the move that we have here from Winter, actually. Okay, just sends out a drone to be safe to the Xel'Naga watchtower in the center of the map. The reason why he did that instead of sending it all the way around the map to make, you know, just check and see where his opponent spawned is, of course, that's much more wasted mining time, and really, to be quite honest, unless you're playing a map hacker and he knows where you're spawning, the only place that he can put a double racks with a safe bet would, of course, be the Xel'Naga watchtower over here. And the Marines that come out of it will then have a much shorter distance to travel. But it looks like we're going to have a double hatch, gas first, into a spawning pool. This does kind of open the opportunity for, say... Oh, wait, wow. Okay. He's going to try and get speedlings ASAP is what he's trying to do. With the tempo that this opener has, that's what he's got the intention of getting. I mean, because he's getting gas before he even throws down his spawning pool. I was going to say that this kind of has the tempo of, say, an early Baneling nest going down, and that's still a possibility. But the point of that early Baneling nest would be something along the lines of a July Zerg style double hatch into Baneling nest all-in kind of opener, which is done with Ling speed. Okay, and since we got a good deal of fill-in time, I mean, we're gonna have honestly about 9 minutes into the game at the very least until we see either side of the map actually fully prepare an army and move out to attack. I guess we could go into blog mode. I'm in Korea right now, and presently I'm a teeny bit hopeful that maybe I can get in on the next Pro League season, the next SPL, if you will. Because as far as I know, Whiplash is the only one who's actually... What's the word I'm looking for? He's the only one that's guaranteed to cast it next season. But also there's the fact of the matter that he replied to a tweet of mine, and basically his bosses at OSL presently told him not to worry about finding another caster. And that could mean many different things. That could simply mean that they're going to have a single caster to go with the next OSL season. Who knows? Budget cuts, stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm going to try and remain positive. I've got backup plans in case I don't get the job at OSL, so I'm not too worried about not getting it. And in other news, I've actually joined the Taiwanese team called Yo Flash Wolves. They were formerly known as Iron Men. They do have one Korean player, and he is a permanent member of the Flash Wolves roster. His name is, of course, San, S-A-N, not to be confused with Sen, the very strong Taiwanese Zerg. This guy is a Korean Protoss, and he's been to Taiwan before to compete in the TESL circuit when he was a part of the Azubu roster, just like Top was. Now we do have, of course, it looks like, oh wow, okay. Well, Ling speed, okay. Okay, there we go. It just finished up. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that. Link speed is, of course, fully researched, and it looks like we got the third command center on the way for Khyira already, as well as a third hatch for our Zerg. And it looks like for some... Okay, never mind. I have to really get used to this new observer interface. Like, oh, jeez. I can't wait to switch back to the Blizzop one, really, because the way this trains my eyes is so awkward. And it really does work against the caster, to be quite honest, because it makes it a little more difficult to track information as it's happening in game. But I initially was going to call that wrong with the only 3 queens on the map, but now we do have the 4th one just about finished up. Just about. It's about to pop out any second now. Well, so far standard game. Hellions are going to be out on the map to try and control the spread of creep. Maybe, if they're lucky, get some drone kills, but of course Lings are already in production to prevent too many creep tumors from being destroyed, and overlords everywhere. Just look at the vision of our Zerg on the minimap. All of the spots that are lit up on the map. That's actually really quite nice. I never would have imagined, like, I mean, just look at the overlord spread. Really strong from our Zerg. But of course the Hellions gonna get surrounded, maybe. Oh, kind of some silly micro. The last thing you want to do, the last thing a Zerg opponent would expect you to do is actually the first thing you might want to do when you have this many Hellions being chased by Zerglings, and that is send them in the direction that Lings are coming from, because sometimes they're actually being right-clicked, sometimes they can just be slipped through. Unless, of course, we're talking about 200 Zerglings. Double overlords on top of these pillars, and that's just going to help them keep track of what is moving between base number 3 and the natural. But I think that basically brings to a draw the blog mode. Now, LYGF Winter is going for double upgrades. He's also sending an overlord into his opponent's main, and he's going to see now that his opponent is going for a bio play, definitively bio play. There's nothing else you can do with this kind of style, really. He's going for double engineering bay. He's got so many barracks out here, and if he was to switch to mech right now, that would just, you know, it hurt him really so much. For those of you who are perhaps a little bit newer to the Starcraft 2 game, Ling's always getting lit up. You know, not to criticize our Zerg by any means, but of course, this is typically why a lot of players go for their Roach Warren at this stage in the game, or sometimes just before getting the 3rd. Now we do have the Baneley nest going down. The reason why, of course, if you just look at the amount of resources lost thus far, the Roaches will at least keep the Hellions out of the 3rd of the natural, or at least do something thereof. At least, you know, they're a better choice to use against Hellions than Lings at this stage in the game, generally speaking. And speaking of Lings, we're going to have them coming in here to the 3rd and seeing that it's been established, so he's already appropriately, long before sending in the Zerglings, he did, of course, already go ahead and establish his 4th base. And Winter is doing just fine for the time being, while I guess we're going to try and figure out what Khyira is doing with this. Is this going to be Bio Mine, or is it going to just be Bio Hellbat, perhaps? No secondary factories just yet, but a reactor? Yes, on the way for the factory over here. Medevac's coming out, and I imagine the factory is going to be used to crank out a ton of Widow Mines. It might be worth the time of Khyira to go and throw down a 2nd factory. And speaking of, he's actually supply blocked right now. It might be worth his time to actually throw down a 2nd factory and get some more Widow Mines in the mix, but Hellion's going to get some nice pickoffs here over at the 4th base. That's just about to finish up. Looks like a handful of drones. One lucky drone at about 2 HP. It was 1 HP before. And now the Hellions are shut down completely. Like, Khyira, I think, maybe had a small window of opportunity to get them out of there, but he didn't take advantage of it. Now we do have the +2/+2 on the way for both players, and they're going to be finished at about roughly the same time. The question is, what are we going to see Winter doing from here? I mean, at this stage in the game, he could potentially go for an infestation pit and then just tech up straight to Hive, but of course, I mean, he's already got 4 bases established, more or less. But I'm a little curious to see what he's going to do with layer-specific tech, unless I missed it. Yes, he did throw down the Spire a while back. I missed that, so I apologize. Baneling's now on the way, and Mutalisks are now in production, just now in production, and they're going to be able to shut down, essentially, drop play, while the Lings and Banelings do an excellent job against these Marines. Yeah, they're not getting home. Letters to the wife and kids, unfortunately. That gives our Zerg now a 15 supply lead, more or less. But of course, our Terran keeping on top of that macro is actually doing pretty good in bringing himself back into this game. Now, what it's going to take ultimately is a ton of clutch Widow Mine engagements, and I really feel like the count for the time being on Widow Mines is a little bit low. I mean, there's a lot of defensively placed Widow Mines, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, He's only got 4 to accompany his main army. They could potentially take down this entire Zerg Baneling, excuse me, Ling Baneling force, if you will. It's just going to come down to the spreads and the connections, really. And the numbers going up with that. Alright. Double medevac drop heading out, and it looks like in a complete circular motion, but of course, look at the Overlord spread. It's amazing. He's got them everywhere. He doesn't care that Marines shoot up. And, you know, some mutas coming in here, kind of getting swatted out of the sky. But to this stage, not really a significant number of workers killed by them yet. Spreading creep on that potential 4th base. This, of all things, wow. I don't exactly see what compelled him to do that, but he just flew his mutas kind of there. I think he was trying to snipe off that medevac. 1 or 2 of the medevacs, really. And the Widow Mines burrowed not in the most ideal positions, but of course, it's better than nothing. I can see a few small mistakes, but nothing too terribly crucial. And now this is exactly what Khyira wanted Winter to do. His main force is coming to intercept this drop, while he moves his Marine and his Biomine force out on top of creep, trying to clear away the creep tumors, and he's going to slowly but surely inch forward onto his opponent's base. A few Banelings are going to be running by here, and if they can connect with the mineral line, that would be just disastrous for Khyira, but that doesn't quite happen, and the main armies go at it in the middle of the map, and with that, we see Khyira slightly coming out ahead in that regards. Just too many, the mutas, yes, they're going toe-to-toe against the Marines, and that's never what you want, but I think this muta Ling force here might be enough to do it. Winter realizes it, and he does just that. More reinforcements coming in for him as well. There's a supply difference of about 12, so both players exchanging rather effectively. But now I think that gap is about to be closed as the mutalist count increases. What we should see from our Terran player is actually throwing drops in the background while his main army goes down for the engagement. But with that last engagement, he threw down the drop first, and he threw it down in a position where he knew it was going to be intercepted at least. And he took advantage of that, and he abused it by, you know, clearing away creep and trying to catch whatever he could out in the open. And speaking of catches, this is going to be a nice one. If he could snipe that 4th base by Winter, excuse me, if Winter could snipe that 4th base by Khyira, ooh, and this might be good for our Terran. Yeah, he did just pick off the Overseer, so there's no revealing any of the Widow Mines, but there's none here that are available to shoot. Oh my god, well, it looks like the small Bio Force might be enough to hold this off, but there's one Baneling, and it makes a nice connection. More Marines coming into the location between the natural and the 4th base. And it looks like with that, we're going to see Winter backing off for the time being. More Banelings morphing in the middle of the map, but the thing is, here's what our Zerg player is doing that's kind of hurting him right now. He's stuck on lair tech. He never actually threw down an infestation pit. He hasn't taken a 5th base to really get that economy skyrocketing just yet. And as you can see, he's spending his macro as best he can. Our Terran player making a few mistakes, but he's going to have +3/+3, and I mean, he's floating a lot in the way of resources right now. He really needs to get that infrastructure back up. He needs to get those production buildings online. Is he doing that right now? I can't really say with certainty, but he is, of course, rebuilding his 4th base, and he might have an opportunity to reestablish it very soon. He's going to have a substantial number of Widow Mines in the near future. He's cranking out 2 at a time. He's already got 8 on the field. And, of course, he's double-checking at his 4th base to make sure he's not being intercepted by mutas, which are going to actually intercept this dropship, this medevac, unfortunately. Not a single muta will fall here. +1 carapace and +1 attack, actually helping with that engagement. You know, it's just amazing coverage with the Overlords everywhere on the map, and this is just one way you can benefit. And finally, Khyira has realized it. He's like, okay, well, if I want to try and make an effective drop happen, I have to take down the oh my god, the Overlords. But here there's a huge engagement. Tons of Banelings trying to go in for that surround, or go in for that just absolutely clutch ball of death that is nearly dead. A bunch of orange, yellow, and red health Marines there. A bunch of remaining mutalisks in the middle of the map, trying to take another swing at that 3rd. I apologize. It's been such a long time since I've casted, and here we go. It looks like the Bio Force on the ground might be able to take care of that, but the Widow Mines all fell in that last engagement. A huge chunk of them fell. Some Banelings could be caught out here in the open, but it looks like no. Khyira doesn't have vision extending there, so he doesn't know about it, and he isn't going to abuse that just yet. 24 mutas and a ton of Lings and Banelings coming in. The 20 supply difference. It's a gap that's slowly getting closed, but +3/+3 is now finished for our Terran. Is he going to be able to hold this or not? I don't know, but the Banelings are going to try and swing into the mineral line there. Doesn't quite happen, but they're going to make nice connections on the Bioforce. Meanwhile, the Muta's going to wipe out every single missile turret here at the 3rd, and then maybe massacre a ton of SCVs. No, that's going to be taken care of by the Lings and Banelings on the ground, or will it be? It looks like that Planetary Fortress was canceled at the last second, and now we have Winter just rebounding with satisfaction. He knows that he's delayed his opponent's economy just a little bit, and he's got another shot to come at that 4th base in the near future. But the biggest problem is he doesn't have the same number of mutas that he had before. More Banelings, more Lings, only +2/+2, but now we have the Hive Tech about to finish up, and that's going to allow him to start +3/+3 and even get some Ultras out on the field if he so chooses. Or even, who knows, Broodlords. But yeah, the 3rd base is looking like, I don't know, this 4th base looks like it might be in a bit of trouble, but the Marines look like they're a bit too much for those mutas, and I think that's a decisive engagement in favor of Khyira right now. I mean, sure, his opponent is up in supply, but he's up in upgrades. He's up in, I want to say up in army supply. He's kind of getting there, but I mean, that's because of the upgrades. Quintessentially, it's because of the upgrades that he's doing so well right now. Overlords everywhere still. I mean, the Viking was shut down just as it was hunting them down, and now we're going to have a single Thor make its way into the mix, and I think that's going to be a huge game changer for all the mutas that are out on the map right now. I mean, if it wasn't enough dealing with C-14 Gauss rifles and Widow Mines shredding your flock of mutas apart, it's definitely going to be a completely different story when those Javelins connect with the mutas. We're now going into the 3rd base. There's no missile turrets here. None in the back position, but they're all behind the mineral line. And it looks like we had a medevac drop that had barely survived. And I just want to see, Khyira hasn't even tried this yet. I mean, unfortunately, it's a slight mistake, but he's always trying to send drops out in the same direction. Yes, there are some static defenses here. Yes, but at the same time, he doesn't really know that, you know, there's no Overlord coverage here. There's no vision coverage here. Zerglings and Banelings now morphing again in the middle of the map. A scan goes down for our Terran. Where exactly was that?
Mineral field.
I know I didn't miss that. It's, okay. He's just trying, okay, there we go. He revealed his opponent's 5th base. And now it looks like, yeah, boy. Winter has now realized just what he's up against, but he does have a rebound coming into the mix, and that comes in the form of Ultra Lisks. Definitely. No, I apologize if I sound like I'm lacking in personality today, guys, because I kind of recovered from illness. Day before yesterday I went drinking, and I'm still kind of recovering from that as well. But, Lone Marine over here. Interesting. I don't know. Mutas look like they shut down that drop yet again. I mean, I don't want to say I told you so or anything. I definitely don't want to say that, but uh-oh, our Thor. What's he doing? Well, here we go. The huge army's trying to connect. No fungal growth necessary just yet, but it looks like Khyira is still significantly down in supply. Marauders only now making their way into the mix, and just 1 or 2 at a time is not going to be good versus these Ultras, but that one Thor is going to be there tanking for all the bio on the ground, and that's going to make such a huge difference here as we see the Marines with the C-14 Gauss rifles just peppering away. Hero Thor survives with 10 HP, 0 kills, but who needs that when you're a hero, right? And it looks like our Terran's 5th base could end up getting prevented thoroughly. No, the bio ball shows up just in time. Mules go down as the mutas scatter, and it looks like 1 or 2 Marines are going to make their way into the middle of the map and just keep track of what reinforcements are coming towards our red Terran. He's been at 3-3 for such a long time. Chitinous plating now finishing up, and I think our Zerg might have forgotten about his +3. No, he actually did get it a long time ago, actually. Oh no, no missile turrets, and that means free SCVs to this point, bringing it to 15 workers killed. Income is kind of shot for our Terran right now. But Winter, I don't know what to say at this stage just yet. I mean, he's doing pretty good. And I mean, this is a part of the, I guess you could say, I wouldn't say balance arguing or saying balance whining, but this, of all things, oh man, the mutas. Winter's doing a good job here. Or, excuse me, Khyra's doing a good job, but at the same time, I think Winter was actually willing to throw some of those mutas away. He's realizing, okay, there's a ton of Thors, there's a ton of Marines. If I keep a minimal amount of mutas, I should be able to intercept medevac drops adequately. But he's doing that just fine, with or without. I mean, he's got a lot of static defenses. Sure, there's a lot of drones that are exposed here, and that's kind of hurting his income just a little bit, but looks like we're going to have the drop going into the main. Muta Ball stops just short, and there's only 4 Marines here, so there's really not too much potential for damage aside from a few drones killed that weren't mining anything anyway. But Khyira doing everything he can to keep himself alive. The Marines doing what they can to just clear out those overlords. This one alive now with what appears to be 5 HP, just one shot away from death. And now ultras galore. More and more Marauders getting into the mix, but I really think that, you know, this might not be, how do I say this? It may not be ideal for our Terran just yet. He's not quite at that super charged number of Marauders just yet, where they could basically nearly one-shot each Ultra. Now, Marines are coming in, and they're doing a good job of actually just clearing out all of the overlords, and that's going to open up more paths for our Terran to take for drops. He's like, okay, if I really want to drop, I'm going to have to get rid of these guys, because they're acting as wards in this game. And look at that, one Marine still alive miraculously. How did he get up there? Just ran straight up in there? I think he could have done that, yeah. Alright. Now, the Ultras making their way into the center of the map, and a nice fungal on that chunk of bio. Checking the income right now, it's actually significantly higher for Khyira. And, ooh, wow, that looked like a huge misclick there for our Viper. Got flown over a Widow Mine. It's not every day you see something like that, but here we go. Late game tech now making its way into the mix. Spire. And that's going to do some good work against the Thors. I mean, like, sure, Thors, yes, they have about even attack range with Broodlords, but at the same time, if there's just 1 or 2 Broodlords in the mix, and there's, you know, just 1 or 2 Thors in the mix, Thors basically prioritize air targets, so they're going to target down the Broodlords, while most of the DPS, which is on the ground, is going to do work on the Thors. So they'll be lucky to, you know, they'll be really lucky to get a kill on 1 or even 2 of those Broodlords. But now, more and more command centers are making their way into the mix, and that means basically increased economy, or so I would imagine at this stage in the game. Mail, bidan sinla. Sorry guys, that was my roommate. He was asking me if I started up my webcam. You know, those lazy guy weekends, we really like to sit around in our underwear all day. Alright, so, interesting. What do we have coming from the Vipers here? Is he gonna throw down a blinding cloud on that? I don't understand. Like, the Vipers got targeted down. Oh, what do you know? Missile turrets are not operational under blinding cloud. I didn't know that. That's actually something new and interesting. I've never seen it before. But now it looks like there was a drop over here at the natural of winter, and it got shut down. Really clever thinking. I never actually would have expected that. I mean, they're structures. They're not really... I don't know. Would you... structures? Are they units? Jeez. Oh boy, Zerg getting those Broodlords into the mix. Did he just cancel them? Did I read that wrong? No, he's got 7 Broodlords. Wow, they just finished up. Alright, so now they're coming into the mix, and Vikings are being put into the mix as well. Now the thing about this is, the Overseers are all way back there, but as they increasingly lounge forward, the Widow Mines are going to be forced to engage on Broodlings, which means essentially free lit... What's the word I'm looking for? Freely ignited, if you will, Widow Mines. Like, Zerg loses nothing from that except for Broodlings, which are basically free anyway. They come back later in the game. Now, Khyira is looking like he's going to be in a huge stack of trouble, and it looks like... Oh, wait. Is he going for a base trade? This could be pretty good. This is going to work out, I think, maybe more to his favor, but he's going to have to rebuild so much of his infrastructure if he's going for that base race scenario. His natural is being ripped apart. He's got 1 factory left in the main. Starport, of course, it does open up a lot of tech trees, if you will. Drones here are all burrowed, and I don't think it's going to occur to our Terran to actually go ahead and scan this. But he is exploiting the immobility. the immobile aspects of his opponent's Zerg army. And nothing... Actually, everything is being rebuilt right now. There's 3 barracks, starport. No factories just yet, and I think he may have the intentions of just composing an army that's going to destroy all of those broodlords. And I don't think I've seen such a fast... I don't think I've seen a faster, more efficient base trade in a long time from a Terran player. And he's trying to do it so well. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He's killing multiple bases at the same time. And now our Zerg's income is effectively shut down, while our Terran, he's just got to get some income, some mineral income up, and that's it. He's got to lose SCVs, but of course that makes more room for army supply. And let's just examine armies right now. 117 supply to 140 in terms of army, but now, oh, unfortunately, that's not going to help at all. I mean, all of the Widow Mines just got lit on, I think, relatively ineffective exchanges. It might have been 1 or 2 Ultralisks. But now, so many barracks have been rebuilt, and we're going to see our Terran try and remax on Marines for the time being. He doesn't have a tech lab, nor does he have intentions of getting one just yet. He's got to get that mineral income back online, but you know what? He's lost a lot of his orbital commands. He's only got 1 remaining, and that's basically cranking out as many mules as it can. Might be to his advantage to go ahead and lift this one off. I mean, it's just going to die to broodlords otherwise. And they really can't shoot up. Bioball cut out in the open, and... I think the beginning of the end was when he lost his main army up here after taking the 3rd and destroying it. Planetary Fortress, going to be difficult to really engage that. I mean, the SCVs couldn't quite get the surround that they were wanting, and it looks like the Planetary is actually targeting down the Infestors. It does fall at long last. Some Marines, jeez. I don't know quite what to make of them just yet, but it looks like the Broodlords will be taken down 1 at a time. We have to see a more adequate SimCity here at what appears to be our Terran's 5th base. He's going to be supply blocked really soon. He can't really get his way out of this. He can't produce his way out of this anymore. He's got to take down the Broodlords, yeah, but what else can he do? I mean, he can land the Vikings. They won't be the most effective tools in the shed for taking down the ground army, but I mean, SimCities could be SimCities. He's running low on minerals. He's trying to produce Marines, but he's supply blocked. What else can he do? I mean, now he's got free supply, but that Planetary Fortress is going to break in just a matter of seconds. He's going to drop. He's going to try and trade, and I think now would be a very good time for him to lift off those buildings, but wait, the Mutas showed up to the party. Even if they pick up, I don't know what he can do. He's got 1 starport that's out in the southern end of the map. Stutter-stepping Marines and Marauders going into the main of our Zerg. And it looks like this 1 Marine has been peppering away since the beginning of time to take down this 1 hatch in the upper left. Now, what this doesn't do is it does not expose this base. So essentially, okay, this one's been rebuilt already. And the Mutas are going to be taken down 1 at a time. The Vikings might have a chance to actually land, and this is going to take us into an extremely low economy situation. I don't know, the Vikings, will they prevail? It's hard to say. These are Mutas with upgrades on them, guys. While we only have +1 for our Vikings. If we see even 1 Mutalisk survive, there it is. GG. Just as, you know, that was kind of close. It really was for a moment. But at the same time, the starport wasn't in a place where it could be saved just in time. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, he had an uphill battle to go if he was really going to try and base race his opponent, and he did try. So this was actually pretty good. It was a really fun TVZ on Whirlwind, to say the very least, and I'm gonna enjoy uploading this to YouTube. If you guys liked what you saw here, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.